hear me? Can you hear me?
I hear Kathy. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you, Sarah.
Perfect.
Hello, everybody. My apologies. We had a slight technical problem on this end. The slide deck getting frozen. And thank you for joining us for this next session. I'm Jay, your technical host. And just want to remind you that if you have questions, please click the Q&A box and you can type your questions in there. You can also use the chat box, sort of like a discussion board. When sending a chat, you'll have the option to send to just the presenters or panelists and all attendees. Presenters will respond to questions in the Q&A box, so be sure to put your questions there. Now, if you need assistance at any time, please use the Q&A box. So thanks, and now I will turn it over to today's presenters, and thank you very much for your patience.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Kathy Costello. I'm the TASH Program Director at Starbridge.
And my name is Sarah Salamone. I'm the TASH Program Manager at Starbridge. We would like to begin our presentation with a short video.
Now make sure you have selected computer sound.
Yes, I have. Just let me know if you can hear it.
Action. One more time. I am Mattello. Action.
Say action and then do it, okay?
Action. My name is Ethan Mattello.
I wanted to sign Ethan up to do some different activities in the community, but I was nervous as a mom for him to do activities by himself.
TASH has affected our school community in a very positive way. It's given our students with disabilities, gives them a natural way for them to interact without having their parents with them.
I was afraid it'd be really tough on him and for the people running the activity if he's on his own. He needs additional support, and when this program came around, I knew that I could sign him up.
So this gives them a more normalized way to socialize and be included in the community activities.
I want Ethan to be able to have the opportunity to be just like any other kid, and for him to be a part of all these programs in the community, the only way he can really do it successfully is with a TASH volunteer.
I did my first volunteer event at a cooking class for TASH, and I realized it was so much fun and it comes naturally and it's actually just a good time. If one of my friends came up to me and told me they wanted to get involved with TASH, I would definitely tell them to come and get involved. It's such a good time. It's like you're just hanging out with your friends.
I think activities like TASH and really just the inclusion idea and behind that, getting them involved in just what everybody else is involved in is paramount. And I think that programs like TASH just really emphasize that movement towards inclusion.
All of my volunteer friends are there for me.
It's like, who wouldn't want to volunteer to go play for 2 hours or cook food or just make new friends? So
Michael makes it easier to meet new people.
It just gives him an opportunity to do things he hasn't had an opportunity to do before.
I was able to get Valentine's Day cards from these two girls, and they wrote me such beautiful messages and told me how much I've impacted their life. And it really was a moment in my head that I really am making a difference.
It'd be a shame for the kids not have these opportunities in each district. Me personally, having 2 children with special needs, I like knowing that this opportunity is here for my child to be involved.
I'm looking forward to sharing information about TASH together, including every student with all of you today and having a chance to share some exciting opportunities. TASH pairs trained peer volunteers with students who have developmental disabilities in inclusive, extracurricular, recreational, and community activities. TASH is a program of Starbridge, and Starbridge is an agency located in Rochester, New York. Starbridge provides many supports and services besides ties, as you can see listed on this slide. People appreciate having choices and opportunities in their schools and community. Oftentimes, people who have disabilities do not have the same choices, which causes a barrier to make friendships, connections in the community, and having fun. With the support of a peer volunteer, participants have the opportunity to join any activity of their choice, much as their sibling does. TASH started in 1997. I'm a parent of an adult now who has a developmental disability. My son and Leslie's son, who is the co-founder of TASH, went to the same school together and we became friends. We're always looking for opportunities for our children and their communities. My son, Kevin, enjoyed being involved in activities. So in order for him to be involved in activities, I needed to become his school of religion teacher, his cub master for Boy Scouts, attend after-school roller skating parties, and become present at all functions so he was able to attend. At some point, I became the obstacle for other children making friendships with him because he was always with an adult. I knew he needed the support in order to attend, and there were not any options other than for him not to attend. Leslie and I were both involved with our school districts as CSE parent reps, special education PTA chair people, and although we had struggles with our school districts, we felt our administrators had respect for us. We received a request for proposal from the Developmental Disabilities Planning Council for a call for ideas in the area of inclusive recreation. We met with our special education administrators and shared our idea with them. Students who have developmental disabilities attending inclusive school and community activities with peers. They assisted us in putting together the proposal and we submitted it. It was accepted and the fun began. Students involved in TASH either weren't attending activities because they didn't have support, or they were attending with adults, such as parents or paraprofessionals. Now they can attend activities of their choice with trained peer volunteers from their own community. Peers offer natural support. They view things differently, and oftentimes their support is more effective and accepted. Personally, I found my son would much rather go to an activity with another student than his mother. I always say to the volunteers when they're in the training, how would you feel going to a school dance with your mother? Peers don't interact with other students when adults are constantly by their side. TASH participants increase their participation by attendance. Opportunities were presented to them in school and community. Most families weren't aware of clubs, dances, sporting events, and other activities at their schools. This also was the same as far as recreational activities in their community. Now the TASH coordinator can make them aware of all opportunities available. Involving all people in activities in the community increases health benefits, socialization skills, connections with peers, opportunities for activities, as well as friendships. Not with the volunteer always, but with the peers within the group. Volunteers are able to facilitate friendships within the peer group. After that first year of funding from the Developmental Disabilities Planning Council, Leslie and I thought we would continue to work with our own school districts to grow TASH. Then we started hearing from parents from other school districts expressing interest in pursuing TASH for their school districts. We then answered a request for proposals from the Developmental Disabilities Regional Office for funding from Family Support Services. The funding followed the same model as the grant from the DDPC. 1 year of funding would be provided to implement TASH in their school district with the commitment from the school district that they would continue TASH after their first funding year. Currently, I am able to support 6 school districts per year with the same understanding. 1 year of funding with the commitment from the school district to continue TASH after their funding year. If a school district and or community is interested in pursuing TASH, but not in our funding area, we can work with them to create and implement the program. The first step in working with school districts is that they sign a letter of agreement to agree to continue to financially support TASH after the initial year of funding. The next step is to recruit a coordinator. The coordinator position is a part-time paid position. The first year, the coordinator is an employee of Starbridge, and when the school district takes over, they typically become a contracted employer through their school district. We recruit parents of children who have disabilities for this position that live in the school district. The reason for that is that I believe parents know the feeling of their children being excluded and know what strategies are effective in providing support for them to feel successful. Parents can relate to other parents because they have experienced the same struggles. The school district and myself interview the candidates and make a collaborative decision on the hiring. First year, I will train the coordinator with the training program that's in place, shadow the coordinator, and assist with all trainings of volunteers and follow up with families of participants, writing individual support plans, and working with the community. There is an evaluation of the coordinator and the program, and then plans for the continuation. So this is just a question to answer yourselves. What grade do you think students can become volunteers? Students can begin to volunteer when they enter 8th grade. The reason for this is when writing the initial grant, we felt that there was a certain maturity that was needed to be able to provide effective support, especially when interacting with their own peers. Of course, there are exceptions of students that certainly are mature enough to do this at a younger age, but after talking with school personnel and other parents, we felt 8th grade was a good place to start. When volunteers graduate from high school and attend college locally, they usually choose to continue to volunteer. They are paired with participants who have aged out of high school so that it is more peer-to-peer connection. TASH clubs have been established on a couple of college campuses, realizing that there are students who have disabilities on campuses, but not being able to access opportunities without support. What better way to attend a football game, movie night, or any college event with another college student? Each volunteer completes an application and includes 2 unrelated references. They are provided with a 50-minute training. Recreation departments have requested this training as well for the staff to increase their knowledge when working with people who have disabilities. Now I'd like to hand over the presentation to Sarah.
Thank you, Kathy. These are just a few of the areas that we are highlighted in our volunteer trainings. Of course, person first language, because I still find that many students have not heard of this, but once they have, I see their heads concurring and know that they are spreading the word. I also try to get a feel of why they have chosen to become a TASH volunteer. Whether they know someone who has a developmental disability, they have a family member with a disability, whether it's a community service hour requirement, or if they like to volunteer. Samples of individual support plans are shared and examples of problem-solving ideas, but most importantly, the fun is emphasized. TASH was created so people could enjoy activities of their choice together based on their interest. The most consistent response from volunteers is that it was fun. When we first started TASH, we thought of the opportunities and advantages for the participants. I have found that volunteers often reap more benefits. Kathy's other son, Chris, volunteered when he was in high school. She could see his self-esteem increase because he made a connection with the people he was supporting and felt the need they had for him to be part of their lives. Volunteers can be students that are in a National Honor Society, community service clubs, students with disabilities, or students that just struggle in school. When students feel left out at school or choose to take a different path, I have seen that the increased self-esteem that comes along with being a TASH volunteer has changed their path. Whether that be going into the special education field, feeling better about themselves, doing better in school, or to feel more a part of their own school and community. Volunteers don't realize how they impact the participants and families' lives. TASH volunteers develop a culture change by including their peers in inclusive activities in their school and community. Oftentimes, this is the first opportunity for volunteers to interact with people who have developmental disabilities, and they realize they have many common interests. So I would like to do an activity with you. This is an activity that we do with our volunteer trainings. It's called the Circle of Friends, and it's a way for you to look at the relationships and friendships in your life. So if you have a piece of paper handy, and you could draw 4 circles similar to what you see on the screen, and complete them as I describe the meaning of each circle. I will give about 30 seconds for each circle. So first, we're going to start with the innermost circle. This is the circle of intimacy. You would write down the names of people that are closest to your hearts. Our next circle is the circle of friendship. In this circle, you would add the names of the people who are very good friends with you, but not as close as your inner circle. Our next circle is the circle of participation. So in this circle, you would add the friends you really like, but are not very close to due to distance or frequency that you see them. This could also be the people that you participate in clubs and sports and other activities with. And our last circle is the circle exchange. In this circle, you would add the names of people who are paid to be in your life. For example, a doctor or a dentist. Now this could be a circle of a person with a developmental disability. I am generalizing, but I want you to realize the powerful effect that opportunity and choice has on friendships. So the innermost circle, that intimacy circle, probably looks very similar to yours with your parents and siblings. The friendship circle, where you put your closest friends often is relatives. Most people with developmental disabilities are unable to drive, so if they do go to activities, a relative typically takes them. The participation circle, where you put the people you are in clubs and sports with, is typically empty because they don't have the opportunities that you have. And the fullest circle, that circle of exchange, is usually the people who are paid to be in their lives. Now, I want to stress the importance that I'm not showing you this slide so that you would feel sorry for a person with a developmental disability, because they would never want you to feel bad for them. But this is a way for you to see how you will make a difference in their lives, not necessarily by enlarging their friendship circle, but by increasing their participation in activities and allowing opportunities with natural support. So this is just another question that you can ask yourselves. At what grade can students become TASH participants? Participants can begin TASH in grade 3 or age 8. Through the initial grant, we chose this age because we felt it was very acceptable for a child younger than this to participate in an activity with their parent. For example, many Brownies, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts attend meetings with their parents. We didn't want the volunteer to provide support in a babysitting situation, but to support someone in an inclusive activity. Students can participate through their school until the age of 21. After that age, if the student or young adult is still interested in participating in TASH, I then get to work with them through the funding from Family Support Services. So it would be young adults that meet that eligibility criteria. They can participate in drumming circles, cooking classes, and outrigger canoeing. This is where I would utilize the older volunteers to make the peer-to-peer support more natural. The most difficult piece for participants is parents and their child choosing an activity. Until this point, parents weren't looking at the town recreation guide or the other activities available in their community because they realized their child could not attend without support, or they did previously attend and were not successful due to that lack of support. Our current model allows us to support students who have disabilities for the first year who have eligibility through the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, or OPWDD. After that funding year, school districts can support any student who has a disability. This is just a model, but for school districts outside this model, a contractual agreement can be put in place to recruit and hire a TASH coordinator, provide training and support, have students involved in activities, and provide feedback from evaluations. Participants and volunteers both complete applications. Participant applications request contact information, interests and activities, questions about allergies, and support information. Volunteer applications are similar because the theory is to pair participants and volunteers according to interest. Volunteer applications request contact information, interest in activities, previous volunteerism, availability, reason for volunteering, and what they can offer to the program. Once the coordinator receives the participant application, he or she then follows up with the parent to conduct a follow-up phone interview where more specifics will be discussed, such as support strategies, safety needs, interest in hobbies and activities, which sometimes, again, is the most difficult question because families haven't had an opportunity to explore these. Once the coordinator would receive a completed volunteer application, he or she would then schedule a training session and check the 2 unrelated references that they listed. Then, once a participant has chosen an activity, the coordinator will look to see what volunteer may have the same interest. Sometimes this works, but oftentimes it's based on the volunteer's schedule. Volunteers are reminded, though, that if they are called about an activity and they are uncomfortable with providing support, then we appreciate their honesty. We want them to have fun and be in the activity as well. They will not be removed from TASH, but will be called for another activity. After the match has been made, the coordinator will prepare an individual support plan, which will provide details about the activity, location, time, meeting place, and the activity leader's information. Then it will continue to elaborate what the participants' interests are so that they have something to talk about when meeting the participant. Then support strategies will be shared based on the activity chosen. This could be breaking down directions, to augmenting language, to friendship facilitation. We also emphasize confidentiality and encourage our volunteers to tell their friends that they are participating in TASH and what they're doing, but please do not share any sensitive information about the participant. The information is based on what is shared in the application, as well as the follow-up interview with the parent. This support plan is also sent to the activity leader so that they are aware of the child's needs, but also what the volunteer's responsibilities are. We want volunteers to feel comfortable when entering the activity and not to be questioned as to why they are there. Whether during the school day in interacting with other students or with the TASH participant, these strategies are very useful in helping to socialize with kids of all needs and abilities. You're focusing on both your strengths and that of the other student. After each activity, a written evaluation is sent to the participant, the volunteer, and the activity leader. Phone calls are also made to the participant and volunteer. We emphasize the value of both families and volunteers' input because the volunteer may have other support strategies that work when supporting a participant since they are the one actually attending the event. If the activity is a long-term activity such as School of Religion, the coordinator will call the participants and volunteers along the way to check on the status, offer support, and problem solve if necessary. Activity leaders could be a swimming instructor, arts and crafts teacher, the monitor at a football game, or the head of an after-school club. This very well could be the first experience with having a person with a developmental disability included in their program. We call them ahead of time to explain TASH to them and then to alert them that a participant and a volunteer will be attending the activity. We explain the support and the responsibilities of the volunteer and answer any questions and/or concerns that they may have. Though initially I have seen hesitancy in activity leaders, I know that it is because of their lack of knowledge in including people with disabilities. After the activity, they realize what a natural and beneficial process this is, with the support of the volunteer is providing to make the experience successful. And this is just one of the quotes from one of our recreation departments, that TASH puts us in a position to model acceptance and appreciation of differences among people. Our staff have benefited from the enriched understanding of diversity. It's difficult to determine who receives the greatest benefits from TASH. When beginning TASH, we thought about all the benefits to the participants for opportunities to explore their interests and become part of their school and community, have choices, and to become more independent. Through the years, I often think that the benefits that the volunteers receive are immeasurable. I have seen increased self-esteem, more comfortable in social settings, better attendance at school, possibly exploring the human services field, and exploring friendships beyond their comfort level. I see at our town recreation department, the staff being more accepting and comfortable with people with disabilities because they have had the opportunity to work with them in a fun setting. TASH is about having fun, and we have definitely accomplished that goal. Some of the benefits of the TASH program: opportunities, acceptance, natural peer support, increased knowledge, building relationships, inclusive recreation departments in schools benefiting all members of the community, and increased memberships. This is one of our volunteer perspectives. Disabilities do not change who a person is and how eager they are to learn. Here are just a few examples of some of the activities that a participant can attend with the support of a peer volunteer. So it could be programs at the YMCA and community recreation departments, dance classes, school clubs and activities, Boy and Girl Scouts, School of Religion, arts and craft classes, drumming circles, cooking, junior prom, senior ball, support at lunch, support in the weight room, sports, and attending sporting events at school. During the pandemic, we were able to move all of our activities to virtual. We've been able to provide our participants and volunteers with opportunities to still engage, and has been very well appreciated by our families. TASH has been implemented in 45 school districts and has funding for all school districts in the Finger Lakes and Western New York regions. I'm going to switch it back over to Kathy to talk about how you would get TASH in your school district.
So I see the question was already answered in the Q&A, so thank you. I market TASH to school district administrators when a family is interested in opportunities for their child, but it is instrumental for the parent to voice their interest, their special education director and/or their superintendent. That has a bigger impact because they're educating your child and wanting them to have opportunities in their schools. I can then meet with the district administration to inform them of the advantages of TASH and explore financial options. I do emphasize not only the inclusive opportunities for their schools and communities, but the cost savings of volunteers supporting students, whereas before, a paraprofessional or teacher may be supporting a student in an after-school activity. Please contact me with any questions at any time, and I look forward to the opportunity to work with families and school districts and expanding opportunities for all children. And now we can open it up for questions. So I see one question in the chat, or one comment was, some of my daughter's best peer supports were at-risk youth. I absolutely agree with that students don't feel that they fit into the school mold are wonderful volunteers because it builds their self-confidence and makes them feel needed, and someone depends on them to be there and interact with them. Does TASH, one of the questions is, many school districts do have peer relationship programs, but they may not interact much with the community. Does TASH create and push for community-based activities? Is that what the funding is for? The funding is basically to pay the part-time TASH coordinator. And what's different about TASH is, yes, we push for students to be involved in their schools and communities, and it's really up to the choice of that person based on their interests, what they want to join. We have someone, the coordinator, who monitors every activity, builds in support plans, and makes it very natural, and it evaluates the program. So it's always that person monitoring. And I think that's why TIES is so much more successful, because they have someone there definitely interacting with school personnel, community personnel, and families. Another question is, how much does this program typically cost to start? It truly is based on paying the TIES coordinator that part-time position, which is really part-time. It's about 13 hours a week. And then we would work out a financial agreement with the district just to pay for some startup costs of us providing the training and get that program started. TIES is copyrighted, and we have done that for the reason because we do not want the program morphed. After the funding period, we stay in contact with all the coordinators and all the school districts so we can keep the integrity of the program. Are these the same age peers? Sometimes, but since participants can start in grade 3, age 8, and volunteers are 8th grade and older, we would have the 8th graders, 9th graders support the students that are younger than that. But once they're in high school into the age of 21, we try to do it peer-to-peer as much as possible. Sarah, do you want to answer the next one? Before you formalize TIES? Had you already been involved in developing circle of friends? And what is the long-term friendship outcomes? Are we keeping data, and would love to see it?
Okay, so let's see, 45. Okay, before you did do TIES, that's where you came up with the circle of friends, correct?
Yeah, circle of friends, we did not create that. We keep data where we have all the coordinators keep track of who's involved, what they're involved in, and they report that to their school district, and also share that with all of us monthly so we know what people are being involved in. We have had people after TIES develop friendships, and we think that's a great idea, and they can do that on their own. And TIES isn't set up to do that one-on-one, but we truly hope that happens in the long run.
Kathy, did you see this question? Do you have a transition plan in place for the school to take over? For example, who would take over the coordination of the program?
Yes, so yes, so the year of the funding, the way is set up right now, that funding period is to hire a coordinator who we know that can is capable of doing the job, but also can work with a school district, because eventually they will be part of the school district. Most school districts hire that coordinator as a contracted employee. So we have a transition in place that person is trained and ready, and the program is fully implemented. So when the school district does take it over, it's an easy transition. And I see a question, how much it is to start. I mean, that just varies on how long they want, the school district wants support. So it's something that we would work out with the school district administrator. I think we're set. If you have any question, wait a minute, I think we have one more. Yes, so the next question is, since it is copyrighted, can it be purchased by agencies in other states? Yes, so it's not actually a purchase, it goes along with them taking on the program. So once I work with a school district in facilitating and recruiting a coordinator, we share all the materials, training materials, and all the materials for TIES, then they have the right to continue to use that. And it's in any state. It doesn't have to be we're in New York State where we're based. Well, thank you. We have our information, our last slide. If you want more information about TASH, please feel free to reach out to me by email, by phone, and I'll get right back to you. And we'd love to work with more school districts to open up opportunities for everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey guys, thank you so much for your great presentation, and I want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. There is a break coming up, and more going on this evening in our community meetups at 5 o'clock. That's 5:30. Sorry. So for now, this is Jay saying thanks again for joining us. Take care, everybody.